How's it going, everybody? My name is Aaron Jackson. I am a senior writer for Coach's Corner Digest, also the creator of Jack Guy Sports Preps. And it's crazy. We are almost at the end of basketball season. Crazy how fast time has flown in the Sac Joaquin section. But I'm very happy to be joined today for another great interview. I guess at this point, I should say the former head coach at Modesto Christian and athletic director, also the coach at Modesto Junior College, Brice Fantazia. How are you doing, Brice?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing very good, and I'm so glad that you're here because you've had such an incredible coaching career, and I guess I'm going to go ahead and jump into just some of the stuff in your bio and what you've accomplished during your time as a coach. So you have an overall record of 220 wins and 60 losses in your 9 years of coaching Modesto Christian. That's nearly 79% win percentage. Sac Joaquin section championships in 2017 to 2018, 21 to 22, 22 to 23, and 23 to 24. And you guys are doing it obviously at the Division I level for a school that has an enrollment right around 250. You guys had an incredible team this year, made it to another Sac Joaquin section title game. And you guys were led by, of course, Gavin Sykes and Miles Jones. Gavin Sykes, a Long Beach State commit, Miles Jones, a Stanford commit. And then, you've had a career in basketball as well as a player overseas. You've played for teams such as FC Porto, Glasgow Rocks, that are now the Calcedonia Gladiators, and SC Lusitania in Portugal. I know that you actually played high school in this area before going and playing at the professional level. You led Modesto Christian to a state championship in 2003 to 2004, which was your senior year. And then you played in this area in the start of your college days at the College of Sequoias before going over to Missouri. And then you played at Culver Stockton College. In I guess first thing I just want to start off with is, obviously this year you were the coach of Modesto Christian and Modesto Junior College. Got into a lot of your bio there. Just tell me where your passion for the game of basketball comes from. When did you start playing, and what got you into the sport?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of started playing basketball. I come from a baseball family. My dad was a really good baseball player, and for some reason, I was the one kind of person in our family that just gravitated towards basketball. And yeah, I didn't start taking it super serious till I was maybe 12, 13 years old, and I was at Turlock High School and decided I wanted to really push myself. My grandparents basically had me transfer to Modesto Christian, and I say all the time that's really the best thing that ever happened to me. At that age, it really kind of set the course for my life. And Modesto Christian was amazing. Obviously, we won a state championship. I wouldn't necessarily say I led us to a state championship. I appreciate that, but we were a pretty loaded team. Really bunch of seniors that only cared about winning and playing for Coach Porter. Who's a legend, 16 section championships in our section. He just kind of really showed me, just the impact you can make on kids' life, the impact that he made on my life, and I think that's kind of what set the course for me wanting to get into coaching. And then really once I went overseas and I played for Moncho Lopez, who was the Spanish national team coach, and that was at Porto in Portugal, and that's where kind of the X's and O's and kind of the other stuff, really started intriguing me. So yeah, I mean, all the, Richard Midgley, who when I was done overseas, I was his assistant coach at Mester Christian. He's probably the best coach I've ever been around. Once I really decided to get into coaching, I just wanted to take a little bit of every coach I had ever been around and kind of piece it all together to hopefully become the best coach I could be.
And obviously I want to get into a lot of your coaching career, but it really stuck out to me when I was looking some stuff up on you and saw that you played professionally, and that you played overseas. Tell me a little bit about that experience of getting to just travel around the world, play overseas, and just how difficult it is to get opportunities at that level, and what it really took for you to be able to kind of get your foot in the door in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, my senior year, I was All American, All American. I think I was like top five in the country in assists. Averaged like 16 points a game. I knew I wanted to play overseas, but I had a agent reach out to me who somehow figured out that I was Portuguese and started the process for trying to get my citizenship. My first two seasons, I had to play as an American, which is very difficult. There's only three Americans on a team, and you have one bad stretch, you can easily be cut. And so once I received my citizenship, I really thought I'd be playing until I was 40 years old. I'm going to play till the wheels fall off. And I got my citizenship. I only played 2 more years, so I played 4 years total. It wasn't the long career that I had thought, but really coaching, and then I met my now wife. I kind of decided just I was going to hang him up and move on to the next phase of my life. But it was a great experience. I mean, Portugal, Scotland, got to go to Spain, traveled all over, took my wife to Paris. So it's like just seeing different parts of the world was awesome. And then the basketball is just over there. It's just a different game compared to over here. Just not as fast, a lot more physical. I remember my first year in Portugal. One of the other guards was a 35-year-old dad with 3 kids that was on the Portuguese national team, and that's his livelihood. And I was this new kid coming in, and he was physical, he was rough, he didn't take it easy on me, and ended up being a really good mentor. But coming in, it was like that was the world. It's a job. It's not fun. I'll say that. Like, it's you don't play well, you're going to get cut. The coaches' jobs are on the line. So yeah, I mean, that was a great experience. But yeah, anytime you get to be paid to play the game you love, you can't take it for granted. Definitely wouldn't change the way stuff worked out. A lot of people want to make the NBA, but there's a lot of different opportunities that basketball can give you.
Most certainly, and speaking of opportunities and kind of going off of that, a lot has obviously changed in the last 20 years. Nowadays, with social media, NIL, increasing numbers of showcases, you're starting to see a lot more players get opportunities for exposure to play at the next level. How have you noticed things change ever since you made it pro, and what are some of the biggest positives and negatives about some of those changes, like social media and NIL?
I mean, yeah, none of that was around back in my day. I like to think I'm a younger coach, but the reality is I'm nowhere close to, the way things are now. It was nowhere close to where when I played. And I think it's good for the kids. I also think it's very dangerous. It's kind of turned college into the pros. You don't produce, you're going to lose scholarship, NIL. So it's put a lot more pressure on the kids. Obviously, as you know, it's changed the whole recruiting landscape, which for me as a high school coach has been the biggest adjustment. Just the way colleges recruit my kids has changed immensely since I first started getting into coaching. So, and the social media, I mean, these kids obviously got to be aware of how to use social media. It can definitely be a positive, but it can also be a huge negative. And I've seen it both ways. And we try to kind of make sure our kids are, on the right path using social media correctly. And that can help your NIL. That can help your, you know, the how you use it can really affect your next few years in college. It can take college away. It can add to your NIL. So we try to help the kids with that. But for the most part, we've had some really good kids that understand that. But personally, I can't really, even some of the kids that have came out of Modesto Christian, when I get involved with kind of the money talk, I prefer to stay out of it. But some of the stuff that has been thrown out, I'm still dumbfounded with what these kids are getting, and it's good for them. I'm super glad for them, but yeah, it's still kind of crazy.
I want to get into obviously, this season because you were I don't know how you slept. You were an extremely busy man. You're the AD of Modesto Christian, the head coach of the boys basketball team, and then the head coach of the men's team at Modesto Junior College. You guys finished with 26 wins. You guys only had 4 wins last season. We talked about it before the podcast started. One of the craziest turnarounds from any program in the entire country. Let me just ask you, first off, how are you able to manage all of that, and just walk me through what your average day consisted of?
Yeah, when it first went down, I didn't plan on coaching both teams. I was gonna step down from Modesto Christian, and I wanted my guy Chris Teven to take over. He's one of the best, young coaches in California, really the country. And initially, they weren't going to give him the job. It was going to open up. They wanted to open it up, and I don't want to say I kind of deboed the situation, but I was like, I'm not going to step down. Like, he deserves the job. And there was kind of some change at Modesto Christian with the admin, the higher up, stuff like that. So I say, hey, I'm staying one more year. You're not going to give him the job. I'm staying one more year. And initially, I didn't think that was possible. I got called into the office, and the office somebody in our administration asked if I would stay one more year. The JC agreed to it. I didn't know that was possible, and it ended up being possible. And I looked at the schedule. The league games were on separate days, so I knew there was only going to be a couple conflicts during the season. Um, so, I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, could I pull this off? And I was like, you know what? Then it became a challenge to me. Like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I heard some people talking like, oh, you can't coach two teams, this and that. I know a couple junior college coaches, a couple kids that I recruited that they used that against me, which is fair game, no hard feelings. But yeah, by the about middle of January, I started definitely second guessing the decision. I think I coached 14 games in 17 nights, like 21 nights in January. Like it was something crazy. My assistant coach Greg Rosenbaum, he assists me on both teams, and he was right there with me. So yeah, it was just AD job, 8 a.m. to noon, go straight to MJC for practice, come back to MC for practice. And then normally at night, I have my son has a baseball game or my daughter has something. So, normally a lot of film at night. So I didn't get a lot of sleep. But, it is what it is. I got to tell people you could be doing a lot worse things than coaching basketball. And, you I want to be a coach. I was blessed enough to coach two teams this year. Was it difficult? It absolutely was. I wouldn't wish some of the stress and stuff on anybody, especially this last month with playoffs and um, the high caliber games. Stress level definitely go up. So there's a sense of relief now that the season's done. Like, but there's also a sense of, I'm probably going to miss it. Would I do it again? Probably not. My wife was amazing. She kind of carried our family through this last couple months, and she deserves a lot of the credit. But looking back now, it's gratifying. I was able to coach two teams, make an impact on two different levels, and the one thing I really wanted my kids to make sure they didn't get the short end of the stick with me coaching two teams. And was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I think if you asked any of the Modesto Christian kids or any of the MJC kids, they would say, yeah, Coach Brice gave it his all on both levels. It might have almost killed me, but that's kind of just how I roll. I can't really do something halfway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been a whirlwind. There's nothing else, no other way to put it.
When you factor in the success you had and the support system you have around you too, I think that's almost the blueprint of how you manage your time. That's time management 101 right there. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive stuff. I got to ask you, obviously, you played at Modesto Christian, coached there 9 years, now you're at Modesto Junior College. What is it just about Modesto and the overall basketball community there that makes it so special?
Um, as far as like the junior college level.
Just anywhere you've coached in Modesto or playing, obviously at Modesto Christian, you've had an experience in that city and in those programs for now for quite some time. What is it that makes those cultures and communities so special?
Yeah, I mean, at Modesto Christian, the culture has been set. I mean, it's been since the mid '90s. They won the state championship in '96. I was a kid going to all the Modesto Christian games, watching Chuck Hayes, those guys. So when I came here, or I came my senior year and won a state championship, obviously I was in the culture, and then when I came back as a coach, there was never really any culture to build. It was Modesto Christian is the tradition of excellence. You're expected to win. Um, and it's really not a community. I mean, honestly, if you look at it, I think a lot of people root for us once you get to like the playoffs and open division and stuff like that, and all the other local schools are out. But before that, I mean, we're not really getting rooted for. It's kind of the big dogs on the block. You want to see us lose. There's always pressure, at Modesto Christian. So honestly, it's one of the reasons I really did take the Modesto Junior College job. I really felt like, obviously I know I'm a good coach, but you really am I a good coach because I'm at Modesto Christian, like that's just natural. We've been good everywhere, or I mean, every coach has been there has been good. So, the challenge of setting a culture at Modesto Junior College and a standard there was appealing to me. I wanted to really see if we could turn that program around. And now this year with the junior college, I think we've seen the whole community kind of rally around it. You see our crowds are top notch for junior college. I really think we probably get the best crowds in all of Northern California. Our last few games were pretty packed. And it wasn't like that definitely the past few years at MJC. And even the beginning of the season with us, it was, slowly people started coming around. And I just feel like the basketball culture in Modesto, it's not what it is in Sacramento, the Bay Area, anything like that. But there's a lot of potential in Modesto. So I'm hoping, some of the excitement from this season at MJC can continue to carry over. And I just, obviously take what I've learned from being a part of the Modesto Christian culture, a part of the Modesto Christian family, and take it at Modesto Junior College and do something special for the whole community.
I think you kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier in the podcast, but expanding upon it, what are some of your biggest coaching influences, and how would you describe your coaching philosophy and some of the most important aspects just of the game to you, and kind of what you try to preach to your guys?
Yeah, I mean, off top, just Richard Midgley, who, I tell people I think he's the best guard ever at Modesto Christian, until I coached BJ Davis. Don't tell Richard that, but he was the head coach at MC for 2 years before he took a scouting job with the Hawks. 4 year starter at Cal. Just being under him for 2 years, you know, he's just amazing, and he was a big influence. Obviously, like I said, Coach Porter, who I played for. Um, but really, I mean, there's so many people that I can look at as people that I look up to as coaches. And even now, even there's people on my staffs now like Chris Teven, Greg Rosenbaum, guy named John Epster, who's been around Modesto for years. I just try to take a little bit from everyone. Um, they've all influenced me, and like I said, I know I get a lot of credit for this two-team thing, but I couldn't do it without any of them, and they definitely deserve a lot of credit.
I want to get into the two squads that you coached this year. And firstly, I want to start with Modesto Christian. You guys were coming off three straight section championships, and you guys made it to a fourth. Incredible players in Gavin and Miles out there. You guys also have Atkins, who is a fantastic player. But just in terms of this run over this last 4 years, what is it that specifically these last 4 years that has made this run so special with the group of guys that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to some of my assistants before the section championship, and I think it was Greg Rosenbaum made a comment about it being the golden era of Modesto Christian basketball, which is kind of crazy if you think about for the last 30 years how good Modesto Christian's been. But just over like a 3-4 year span at the Division I level to kind of do what we did, um, is really impressive. Obviously, Modesto Christian's won Division 5, 4, 3, 2 titles, but to kind of have the run we did at Division 1, win the Open Division Championship in 2022, for NorCal, and it's been a great run. Obviously, I've had great players that have bought in, that have ran through a wall for me. Um, so they deserve all the credit. They make me look like a good coach. But even this season, I was so proud of this year's group. Um, Gavin and Miles are amazing basketball players, but the reality of it is they had 8 freshmen and sophomores on the team. And if you look at the kind of the open division level for us to get to the open, you don't win with freshmen and sophomores. If you look at other teams' rosters, they don't have freshmen and sophomores on the floor getting big minutes, and we did. And Gavin and Miles kind of had to lead them, and I'm very proud of them because they could have been bad teammates. They could have been frustrated with the young guys. They never did. They stuck together, and it sucked. Having a chance to win a 4 straight section championship. That was a goal of ours. We didn't get it done. But to get back to that point with 8 freshmen sophomores, I was extremely proud of them. The game that Rye had in the section championship, he's a kid who didn't get a lot of minutes on last year's section championship team. Um, he's going to be a great college basketball player, better college than he is high school. He's still learning the game, and he kind of had to grow into a leader as well. So I know I tweeted it, like, I think this is the most proud of I've been of the team. They didn't win the NorCal Open. They didn't win a section championship, but this also wasn't one of those talented top 50 teams in the country that we've had either. So, yeah, just very proud of this group.
And then transitioning over to Modesto Junior College, the thing was, it's a really cool dynamic this season is you had four Modesto Christian players, and Darius, Prince, Drayvon, and Amari on the team, but also your top three scorers out there were Kobe, Malachi, and Yolan, who's from Europe. Tell me how exciting it is to have some players you've coached at the high school level and kind of watch them develop as young men in college, and then tell me about the dynamic of having some other guys that you previously had to battle against in high school now leading the way for you at Modesto Junior College.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I mean, some of those kids I've known since fifth grade. We started the Chuck Hayes basketball program when I got back from overseas, and Chuck is the godfather of this area when it comes to basketball, and he's given a lot to the community, a lot to these kids. And when he started that, I think it really did something for the community, basketball wise, and kids like Kobe Noons, Amari Suggs. We've coached them since fourth grade, and it's crazy to see that I'm coaching them as 19, 20-year olds now that, are in college. And so, like I said, it's been cool just seeing them grow up. Makes me feel old, but that's all right. But yeah, even a kid like Malachi Miller, who was at Central Catholic, that, he's a kid, if he was at Modesto Christian, he probably is on a lot of people's radars. The Central Catholic is more of a football school. A lot of people really didn't know who he was. I knew how good he was. So when I got the opportunity to get him over to MJC, I was obviously thrilled. And then, yeah, my Modesto Christian guys, I mean, those are my guys. I've known them since, you know, Darius Smith since sixth grade. He was at Modesto Christian. So when they came to MJC, they were the ones that helped me set the culture, set the standard, because they were the ones who knew exactly what I want, how I wanted things, and they were able to kind of relay to the other guys. And our MJC team is pretty much all 209 kids. Obviously we have Elon from France, Ty Rattler from Elk Grove, who has some Modesto Christian connection. His brother played at Modesto Christian back in the day, so and he has family members in Modesto. So it's been fun, and I think has been what's made it so exciting. Just having 90% of our team be 209 kids and turning MJC into a winner, something that the community can be proud of.
Just a couple more questions before we get going here. First thing I got to ask you, reflecting on your time at Modesto Christian, what are some of the biggest lessons you kind of learned about yourself as a coach, and what are some of the biggest goals you have when it comes to coaching now going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota Christian just showed me, it's cool to win games, but winning games isn't what life's all about. I think showing these kids how to be good young men, they're all going to be fathers, husbands one day, how to treat your wife, how to treat people in general. That's what I've really tried to use basketball for. And I think if you ask any of the kids, they'll tell you I don't just coach basketball. I think I have great relationships with all my former players. I still keep in touch with all my former players that are playing in college, that are overseas. And when I kind of, a lot of people knew I was stepping down from Modesto Christian, but when I did finally announce it officially that I was stepping down, to have all my former players reach out individually, guys like BJ Davis, just saying, he loves me, stuff like that. Like that's what coaching's all about. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are coaches who kind of just get in it for the wins, and that's ultimately what it's not about. These kids aren't going to remember the wins and stuff when they're 40 years old. They're going to remember how the coach made them feel, the impact the coach made on their life. And really going forward, that's my goal. I have an 8 and 6 year old, and everything I do now is how would I want my 8 year old son to be coached? I want him to be coached hard. I want to be held accountable. Don't let him, slack off. But, you know, that's really what I want. Like you need a coach that's going to care about you. And I care immensely about my kids. My kids know I love them. I think that allows me to coach them hard. And yeah, it's led to a lot of great moments, a lot of wins. And that's just a byproduct of it.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on today, and congratulations for all the success you have had during your time. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do at MJC going forward, and I'll be looking forward to seeing the rest of your career as it continues to develop as a coach. I guess before we get going, Brice, is there anything else you'd like to add about your time at Modesto Christian, Modesto Junior College, anything going forward, anything else you'd like to add?
Now, really, man, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
It's been a fun ride at the high school level. So my guy Chris Steven will be taking over. He'll keep Modesto Christian rolling, and I'll still be around.
I love it. Well, hey, it's been a pleasure watching you guys on the sideline for so long, and I wish you luck going forward. Thank you so much for joining us, Brice.
Thanks, man.
You bet. All right, take
See
care.
you.